This is your one and only 𝐈𝐸ⴏ𝐸 with your daily dose of video goodness, and we're back with some more Valheim Hearth and Home spoilers, so let's get to it. So earlier today, they released a video on Twitter where they were showing them rebuilding the house from their animated trailer, and there is a bunch to unpack from this, so that's what we're doing here. The first image that we're going to take a look at pretty much confirms what I said in a previous video about the textured pillars. Looks like we're getting textured pillars. You can see them super easily in this image, and on, well, I guess there's the braces and the pillars or whatever. It goes both ways. You can see there they have them going horizontal and vertical. Not only that, if you take a look at the window, they now have window trimmings, and we're going to come back to this because I think we're going to get more than, well, I know we're getting more than just that. You can see how that is angled, and we currently do not have any shapes angled in that direction. We have them angled the other way, the slopes to go with the roofs, but we don't have them sloped down. So those are actually two separate pieces. If you take a look at this image here, you can see, well, not only those in the corners here and here, but you can also see that the pieces that we talked about before, where I was like, I'm not sure if those are windows or if those are two separate pieces or what, that lattice type structure there does appear to be its own separate little half wall split. Well, I guess you could call it a split wall structure. And something else I want to point out from the first image that we were taking a look at here is that the hearth has been retextured. That appears to be the only thing that's really changed. It looks like it takes up the same amount of space, and a bunch of you pointed this out and called this out in my last news video about Hearth and Home, that I totally missed that the hearth had been retextured, and I did. It is 100%. This is what the old one or the current one looks like. This is what the new one looks like. Next thing I want to point out is we have a shot here of them building a roof, and you're like, well, we've already seen a bunch of those pieces from the other shots that you just showed, but what is important about this is this piece right here. This is not a full wall clipped through. This is actually a sloped downward piece, and if you take a look at it and you see where it is there, and then you look at this image, you can see there on the opposite side that you do not see because this is a mirrored structure. You can see there that that is 100% a, I guess you call that below slope. I don't know what you call that, but that's a piece that I know so many of us have wanted for a while now. So we're getting those in Hearth and Home. So super excited about that. There's going to be so much we can do with building now that we have those angled down slope structure pieces. The next thing that they show in the trailer is them placing gold. So those gold piles that we saw before, it's not a situation where you just drop gold on the ground and it piles up like I was hoping for. It looks like those are just straight placeable decorations. Doesn't look like they really do anything because we see the normal yellow line that we see when we're placing stuff, but we don't see like it's an upgrade to something type line there. So it looks like that's just pure decoration, in which we can just assume it's going to be a use for extra gold, which is I kind of wish that they had more uses for gold besides this, like more stuff to buy from the shopkeeper when you find him, or just other uses for it in general, like gold trimmings or something other than just piling it up on the ground. But I don't know, maybe we'll get that in the future. If you take a look at this shot here, you can actually see that the beams that they placed over the hearth are too long. We do not have the square beams that are too long. We have the log ones, the round ones that cover 2 foundations in length, but all of the normal one, or the square ones that we have, are only 1 foundation side in length. So it looks like we are getting extra long one there, which is interesting because they didn't use it on the vertical pieces of that build. They actually stacked the short ones. So it looks like we're only getting horizontal long ones, or maybe they just didn't want to spoil it. Maybe they figured we would figure it out. But if you take a look at the vertical ones there, you can see they are split. So they could have also been doing that to make sure that they have a proper snap point there in the middle as well. But I think it's probably safe to say that we're getting horizontal and vertical 2 long square beams. Now, you may be thinking, that's whatever, that's cool. I could just also put 2 together. together. But what's interesting about that is that that will allow us to build further from foundation support with the square pillars and beams like we can now with the round ones. So as it stands now, you can't get quite as far with the square ones because you stack more pieces from the foundation support. So with these, you'll be able to do the same thing that you can do with the round ones now, because the round ones now can actually go a little bit further from foundation support. So a lot of this stuff we have already kind of gotten shots before and have already guessed. Like we kind of knew it was going to be a thing. For example, the decorated pillars and beams, they've given us a close-up shot of that, and then they gave us just a tiny little snippet of a corner of it, enough for us to guess what it was, and now they're showing it in its full glory. I'm starting to get slightly concerned on whether they're holding out a bunch of stuff on us or if we're not going to get as much stuff as I hope that we are, building pieces wise. They did mention in a post that there's a bunch that they haven't showed us and that they're holding out because they want us to explore it on our own and they don't want to ruin it for us. I hope that that's true, and I hope that it's not like one or two things, because if it is a situation where they've spoiled most of the stuff and there's only like one or two things left to discover, I think there's going to be a lot of angry people. I, for one, I'm like, whatever. I mean, it's taken a while to get the update out, but there's a bunch of reasons that it has taken a while to get the update out, and it's taken longer than normal. A lot of people say, oh, it's a small team, it's a small team. That has nothing to do with it. There are plenty of other companies out there, dev companies, that are small teams that get patches out for their game, add new content, all of that stuff on a regular basis. Valheim is a different situation here. I mean, they took a vacation, which is fine. Hey, take a vacation. They earned it. On top of that, they've mentioned plenty of times that they do not want to put out just whatever random trash and just be smashing stuff out as quickly as possible for the sake of smashing it out. And I can respect that. They want to make sure they playtest things and that they keep giving a polished product. If it involves waiting, it involves waiting. I respect that. But I think a lot of people don't, and a lot of people will be angry because they just don't care. They just want the content, whether it's buggy or not. So I don't know. I hope there's a lot more than what they're showing now. They are definitely ramping up on how much they're spoiling the window pieces here. And if you notice, those window pieces are sloped down. They're angled, sloped down, just like the full pieces that are angled, sloped down. So I'm hoping that there's like a whole, bunch of different types of these. Maybe we can get some braided ones or some other different types of different textures on the wooden sloped, downward sloping pieces. As well with the texture pieces that we're seeing on the pillars and beams, I hope that we get different types of textures on those as well. I think all of that could go a very long way. I mean, they already have the pieces. All they're really doing is retexturing them. It's quick, easy work and it's basically just mainly work for the art people, and it allows the coders to work on other things. And I think it would be a good way to add a lot of new content to the game, especially for the builders, without having a ton of extra work put on the team as a whole. And I think that could be really good for them. Whether they do that or not, we'll have to wait and see. But let me know if you have any concerns down there in the comment section, or if you're just hyped for the new content. All right, that is going to wrap it up for this episode. I want to give an absolutely massive thank you and shout out to my supporters on Patreon for making this episode possible. Y'all are absolutely amazing people. If you would like to join my Elite Crew Patreon supporters, please check out the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of your shot. You don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up button and share your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.